Hello and welcome to Story Structure, an introduction with myself, Alette Willis, from restorylab.com. Stories and storytelling are really hot right now. You will see them discussed all over the internet and off of the internet, with lots of people out there saying they have this formula, this story formula that you just need to apply and it's guaranteed to get you results. This video is slightly different. I'm going to take you back to the basics of stories and storytelling so that you can make your own decisions about how to use these so-called formulas. The slogan here is tools, not rules, and becoming conscious about your storytelling creativity. The good news is we are all storytellers. As humans, it's our birthright. For millennia, humans have been telling each other stories. We're very good at it. We do it constantly. And as I said, this is just about being more conscious about your story crafting and storytelling. At its most basic, a story is a form of communication with a beginning, middle, and end. We can get slightly more complicated by going back to secondary school, if you can think back that far. And at secondary school, you might have learned that a story is something with a plot, characters, a setting, and a theme. And I'm going to talk about all of these in more detail as we go through this video. If you've been paying attention, you already might have noticed that the basic definition with beginning, middle, and end is essentially the plot. So we can tie those two definitions together. The next thing to talk about are characters. You'll want more than one character so that there's interaction and things like that, but we'll focus here on the protagonist, your main character. It's important that you know what your protagonist's problem is at the beginning of the story, what they're trying to do at the beginning of the story, and what is at stake if they don't solve that problem, and what is at stake if they do solve that problem. What will happen to them if they solve the problem? Setting is where things take place, and I'm not going to say any more about that today. Theme, though, needs a little bit more explanation. The theme is the so what of your story. It's why should I bother to listen to the story as an audience? Why are you trying to share the story? What is the point of the story? It could be the moral or the message. It could be the atmosphere or an emotional journey that you're trying to take the audience on. Finally, it could be an idea or theory that you're playing with in writing this story. So heading back over to plot, first thing I want to say is to give your story a sense of unity, that's a sense of completion. It's important that your ending refers back to the beginning. So whatever problem character you started off in the beginning, it's useful at the end to refer back to that problem. It doesn't mean the problem needs to be resolved, but you do need to acknowledge that it hasn't been resolved if it has not been resolved. You can enhance this by adding imagery in the ending that echoes imagery at the beginning. Now coming to the middle, it's useful in the middle if at least three things happen. Three is very common in European storytelling traditions. We can think of the Three Little Pigs, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In other cultures, the number is 4 or 5 or 7. Doesn't really matter as long as it's more than 1 or 2. Having more than 1 or 2 events happen provides the story with a sense of building tension and also provides a context for the character to demonstrate character development. So if we go with 3, we can see that the first event can be the character's first attempt to solve their problem, where they try and they fail, they learn, they apply that learning to the second event, they fail again, but learn more, and finally, at the end of the story, they try applying everything that they've learned and they finally succeed, and you've got good character development and good development of tension across your story. Now, to begin your story development process, ask yourself the question, what if? What if this particular character ended up in this place and these three things happen? Or what if we explored this theory in a particular setting? What if? Think about what your what if is. Finally, there are two overarching motifs that thread their way through every story. The first gets discussed everywhere: overcoming obstacles, conflict, tension, that sort of thing. You'll see that in every creative writing book. And that's certainly important, and it certainly does provide tension and interest in a story. But it leaves out the other central motif, which is the motif of connection, connecting, reconnecting, which is equally important in storytelling, and you need to pay attention to that. So different genres will have different emphases. Rom-coms might emphasize connection, but still the two characters have to overcome obstacles before they connect, right? Adventure type stories might be mostly about overcoming obstacles, but there will still be mentors, helpers, friends, buddies, etc. So every story will have these two. I highly recommend that you try applying what I've discussed through storyboarding. Get an A3 or a poster size sheet of paper. You can fold it into 8 squares, or you can draw lines like I'm doing here. And you will notice that what I talked about above fell into 8 categories. So you can label each of these boxes on your storyboard. Down the left, you can have beginning, middle, and end. And down the right, you can write characters, setting, and theme. The great thing about storyboarding is you can start in whatever box you're ready to start in. So perhaps you know the theme that you want to work with in the story and one of the characters. So you can start working in those boxes until working in those boxes helps you to fill out setting or gives you inspiration for the middle of the story. The bottom 2 boxes, leave those for the motif, overcoming obstacles, and reconnecting or connecting, and you can make notes in those boxes of how those threads are going to make their way through your story. So that's it for this video. I hope that it's given you something to think about, and I hope it will help you get your story off the ground. So thank you very much for watching. This is Alette Willis from restorylab.com. Please come over and visit me at restorylab.com and let me know how your story crafting went. If you found this useful, please like it and share it and check out some of the other resources I've got. Have a great day.